After a series of 3 disappointing negative days, we have something to cheer about. The benchmark Nifty index managed a decent bounce back in today's trading session from its intraday lows, bounced back really well to manage a close at 16,169. But the showstopper, the outperformer was clearly the Bank Nifty, gaining more than 2%, 769 points, to just cross the psychological 35,000 mark. Let's take a closer look into today's price action and try to figure out, is Nifty going to do a catch-up game soon? And what are the levels for Bank Nifty for the next week's expiry? Hi traders, Namaskar. We are together looking at the daily chart of the near-month futures, Nifty near-month futures, and after 3 consecutive disappointing close, slipping from its intraday highs, the index finally manages a bounce back. We should not forget that the index is still in an intermediate downtrend. This is the daily time frame, and we will consider these gainers, what we have right now in our charts right now, is more of a short-term bounce back in an intermediate downtrend. This does not give us enough confidence to turn the underlying trend, to reverse the underlying trend on the upside. Let's take a look at the 75-minute time frame to have a closer look at the price action. So, number one, the index is very much still stuck in this range. It has already created a range for itself within which it is trying to accumulate. It is trying not to fall. It has, in the past, it had given us a couple of chances of a short-term trend reversal. By short-term, I look at the 75-minute time frame, and this is maybe another attempt, maybe the third attempt in this intermediate downtrend that the index is trying to reverse the short-term trend on the upside. And during all this time, all the drama that it has done over the last few weeks, it has managed a well-defined range for itself. And with today's bounce back, very clearly today's low will act as a clear level below which, if the index slips, it will clearly signify that this market is weak. On the upside, it needs to do far more. It needs to deal with these levels on the upside. It's got multiple resistances. The point of control also lies here. So it's not, I don't think it's going to be a smooth ride for the index going further up. Maybe above 16,400 if it manages to go there. If it manages to break out above that, sustain above that, then it might get the confidence, the sentiment back from the buying community. But as of now, I think the market still consider this move as a short-term bounce back in an intermediate downtrend, and that's it. And would like to keep a very close look, observe that whether this bounce back has any further merit to itself or not. Now, I have drawn a volume profile of the recent, this low to this high, that is this particular move, and the point of control and majority of the volumes that have walked out comes here. Now this is an interesting level because I have 3 highs over here, this level, which is also happens to be the lower border of this range that we had drawn last week, I believe. So this lower border of this range is around 16,230, 16,250, and that's where you can expect the short-term resistance tomorrow. The index, if it manages to sustain above that, then it raises the possibility of 16,400, 420 on the upside. So you have around a little bit of move above which the index might give us the possibility of 200 points more, maybe later next week, but it's too early to jump into such conclusions. The 16,400 resistance is very much an important level. We can see multiple times it has walked out. The point of control lies there, and so the Nifty needs to do a catch-up game. So use 16,230 as the intraday level resistance for tomorrow's trade. And if it manages to close above that tomorrow, a weekly close above this, then next week we can anticipate that the index can gain another 150 to 200 points on the upside. On the downside, today's low will act as an important level, no doubt about it, because the index, after three disappointing closes, finally manages a U-turn. It was weak, but from there it actually turned around, and from there, where it turns around, lies an important level. And this low is about 15,879 to 15,900. Okay, if we go back to the daily charts, we were of the opinion that 16,000, 16,100 should hold, and on a closing basis, of course. And it's good to see that the index did manage to stay above that 16,000 on a closing basis, though it fell quite a bit. 15,885 intraday low, but close of 16,169. So it clearly signifies that the index has given respect to the psychological 16K mark, and a close below that will definitely amplify this underlying downtrend. Till that doesn't happen, we may expect short-term bullishness for the next couple of trading sessions. But talking about bullishness, I think we got it bang right with BankNifty. We clearly observed the outperformance, the inside bar, and the lack of intention to break below the previous day's low that it held on to, creating a higher high, higher low, and then finally we got a beautiful breakout in today's trading session. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday only, I mentioned that in the last 15-20 minutes of trade yesterday, huge put writing at the 34,000 put for the BankNifty, and it went up sharp. I wish TradingView offered us the option charts to be able to show you. I think it closed around 370-80 odd levels, and today morning it opened at 20 or 17, something like that. It was a big fall, around 80-85% fall in just the opening. That's what option markets are, and we had the expiry, not to forget that. But coming back to the chart, breakout. The index is doing far better than the benchmark Nifty. The index did manage a trend reversal, and it held on to the trend reversal really well, and now it has just shown us the momentum, and we can see how the moving averages have started to open up. So the banks and the financials have led the move, are leading from the front, have shown the strength. It will be important to see that when they tire out and they kind of consolidate, do we see the support coming in from stocks like Reliance Industries, stocks like from the metals pack, or the IT. The IT is actually beaten down, so valuation wise IT might find some interest. So BankNifty has given us a beautiful move, and BankNifty had a gap down here, which is very likely to be the source of resistance for the index. Now, I'm not keeping a very high expectation from the index for tomorrow's trade, because I can see that the index did give us 3 consecutive strong bars on the 75-minute time frame, and I can expect that the index to consolidate above, close to that 35K mark. Even if it manages a close to that 35K for the week, it will be a decent weekly close for the index. On the downside, it's got some really good supports here below the 34,400 mark over here. Previous highs should act as support, and then previous lows. So all eyes at 34,700. If the index comes down here, those will be opportunities to buy. But if it disappoints and cracks below this, then 34,400, 34,300 will be the really strong support which holds this index up. So as long as it stays above 34,400, 34,300, keep a bullish bias. As long as it keeps itself above 34,800, keep a very strong bullish bias. Do not try to go contra sell, contra short on this index right now at this juncture. Let's take a look at the open interest movement, and we can clearly see that calls unwinded big time and puts put writing happening very clearly, and this is something that you'll notice in Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. No rocket science in this. Biggest put writing happening at 16,150 and then 16,100. For the Bank Nifty, the put writings is at 35k. That's very close, and that's like almost double the size of the second most put writers are standing at 34,800, 1.2 million, and then 2.4 million. So double that size at 35k. So it'll be interesting to see whether the Bank Nifty index manages a comfortable close above 35k tomorrow or not. So I'll be keeping a intraday bullish bias, but I would be looking for the index to consolidate and then give me successive opportunities to go long. I have created this simple Excel sheet to write down the levels so that it will be a record and it will be easy for us to remember the levels also. So what I'll do is I'll keep the top one as the recent. So I'm going to just copy paste and I'm going to change the date and the view. So those who are looking at it for the first time, the first one over here is a 75-minute time frame, and this is the daily time frame. The 75-minute time frame levels and strategy and views will help you from an intraday perspective as well as from a 1 to 3 day kind of positional perspective. And the daily time frame will help you from a completely positional point of view, trades that you hold on for a couple of weeks. Now, 75-minute time frame, and this is only for the Bank Nifty. I personally trade the Bank Nifty, so it makes more sense to spend whatever time I do to update this sheet. We stick to Bank Nifty. So 75-minute time frame, we're taking a look at the trend, and the trend is purely up. Now, we had kept a flat to long bias, and clearly it is now an uptrend, no doubt about it. Volatility is relatively on the lower side. Pullback and breakout long. So breakout has already happened. Breakout trades have walked out. The index has broken out. So pullback L means pullback long. If the prices decides to come off, that's a pullback. This is where we will be looking to go long based on the 75-minute time frame. Support is close to the level of around 34,700, 34,650. 34,650, 34,700. I could have written all this down before the recording, but I thought that it makes sense that I do it during the session. And on the upside, it is 35,200, 35,200. Let's see once, now that I've written 35,200, I would like to see if I come here to the Bank Nifty open interest. 35,200 is over here, and I don't see any significant call writing at 35,200, 35,100 and then 35,200. So majority of it's happening at 35,100. Okay, from the daily point of view, levels and trend and strategy, the daily chart is still in a downtrend. I can still see that the moving averages are very well placed, ordered, one on top of the other, one that is in an order where the lowest moving average is at the bottom. So it's still a downtrend. The trend is trying to reverse itself. So it's still down. Volatility, I would say, is on the higher, is still on the lower side. We don't see much choppiness on the daily chart as of now. Pullback short. Now, I would bring in some of my indicators just to check the momentum, the overbought, oversold, range expansion, Heikin-Ashi. Now, pullback short will not be a good idea. Right now, I would say wait and watch based on the daily time frame. I think this is not the juncture where you should create some kind of a strategy. You should wait and watch. Support comes in now at the levels of 34k. There's no doubt about it. 34k stands as a very, very strong support for the index from here on. I would extend this volume profile to the recent high just to check where are the volumes which played out. Now 35,900, and we have some couple of lows shaping up at 35,500. So I'm going to keep it at 35,500 and then 35,900 as we progress for tomorrow's trade and next week. We can update these levels, but clearly the short-term traders should keep a bullish bias on the Bank Nifty, and the intermediate time frame traders should wait and watch just to see whether there's enough meat in this bounce back or not. But continue to stay with the strength, continue to focus on the banks, and wait for any kind of short-term dip as an opportunity to buy into them. But as I said, the important thing would be a time will come within the next 2 or 3 days when the banks will be tired and they would like to consolidate or correct. And for the index, for the overall Nifty to hang on to that level, it needs to pass on that responsibility to someone else. Reliance, ITC, Hindustan Unilever, Tata Steel, and or the IT. I would keep a very close look at the IT stocks, not from a purely trading point of view, but from the point of view of medium to long-term investment, because they are relatively fairly cheap. So once Bank Nifty slows down, I would closely look for leadership from some sector or few stocks. If that goes missing, then it's not possible for the Bank Nifty to sustain the overall markets for an extended span of time. But for the next day, keep a bullish bias and try and make the most of tomorrow's trading session. Take care of yourselves. Trade well and trade wise.